Western civilization is teetering on the brink of collapse, a house of cards built on fleeting comforts and digital distractions.
That's a rather dramatic statement, isn't it? How do you equate social media with the fall of empires?
It's not just social media, it's the erosion of virtue, the loss of discipline. Look at the leaders we celebrate today, more concerned with popularity than moral integrity.
Ah, but isn't that the essence of life? To be loved and admired. What good is morality if it doesn't resonate with the masses?
You suggest a popularity contest is the measure of our civilization? That's precisely the issue. True virtue must stand above transient trends.
But virtue is subjective, dear Marcus. What you consider virtue, I might see as a restriction. Western civilization thrives on the clash of ideals.
Yet, that clash seems increasingly shallow. We debate over petty grievances while ignoring larger existential threats. A civilization that can't elevate its discourse is bound to collapse.
And yet, those petty grievances are often the seedbeds for greater change. Every revolution begins with a grumble, doesn't it?
Change without wisdom is chaos. Look at modern politics. It's a circus. Leaders pander to outrage rather than encourage reflection.
Perhaps chaos is necessary. Order can be a cage. Isn't it better to embrace the chaos of existence, to dance with the absurd rather than pretend it's something noble?
Dance all you want, Nietzsche, but while you're twirling in the chaos, the foundations of society crumble. We risk losing the very ideals that have guided us for millennia.
Idealism is grand, but it can also be a blindfold. Look at the Enlightenment. It revered reason but failed to address human passions. The collapse you fear may be a necessary evolution.
Evolution? Or simply decay masquerading as progress? The moment we abandon the principles of virtue for the sake of convenience is the moment we seal our fate.
Yet, isn't convenience a reflection of human ingenuity? We've adapted to survive, to thrive in ways our ancestors could only dream of.
Ingenious, perhaps, but at what cost? Our connection to meaningful history diminishes as we chase the ephemeral. We forget that true strength lies in our roots, in enduring values.
But if we cling to outdated ideologies, we risk stagnation. You can't expect society to evolve while holding on to relics of the past.
There's a difference between evolution and erosion. Have we truly evolved if we sacrifice our moral compass?
Moral compasses are often skewed by perspective. What you hold as a guiding principle may change someone else. Shouldn't we challenge our notions of morality instead?
Challenging is one thing. Dismantling is another. Our civilization is based on shared moral frameworks, ones that allow for coexistence, not anarchy.
Coexistence can breed complacency. Sometimes a complete dismantling is what allows for rebirth, just like a phoenix rising from its ashes.
And yet, those ashes can easily turn into a graveyard for civilization. Look at history. For every phoenix, there are countless fallen empires.
Yet, here we are, discussing the lessons. Does that not prove the resilience of thought? Ideas live on, even if the structures do not.
Sure, ideas persist, but ideas without a strong foundation lead to a society that's easily manipulated. Look at today's news cycle, driven by sensationalism.
But sensationalism sparks engagement. Perhaps it's a necessary evil to awaken the masses. Would you rather they remain docile?
I would rather they remain informed and reflective. Engagement driven by sound reasoning, not clickbait. Wisdom should triumph over noise.
You speak of wisdom as if it's universally defined. Who gets to decide? You? Me? Or is it the collective chaos that shapes our understanding?
Chaos without guiding wisdom ultimately leads to despair. The fact that we base our existential thoughts on tweets is disheartening.
But perhaps those tweets spark dialogue. Isn't that the essence of progress? To provoke thought, even if it starts with brevity?
Provocation without depth can lead to more problems than solutions. We're becoming a society that values sound bites over substance.
Substance can be a prison. What if the new wave of thinkers embraces fluidity rather than rigidity? Shouldn't we be open to this transformation?
Being open is one thing. Embracing chaos is another. You may find freedom in fluidity, but many find despair in a lack of direction.
Direction couldn't be suffocating. Let the river flow where it may. Resilience comes from adaptability, not from clinging to stagnant waters.
So you endorse moral ambiguity. What happens when the next leader comes along, promising revolution but delivering tyranny?
Tyranny often arises from the fear of change. What we need is robust resilience against tyranny, not blind adherence to past forms of governance.
Resilience through virtue and wisdom. Those are the bedrocks of a strong civilization. Loose morals lead only to repeat the mistakes of history.
Perhaps history is not a straight line but a spiral. Each iteration can bring fresh insights, even from past failures.
Fresh insights, yes, but without the lessons learned, we risk repeating the cycle blindly.
And yet, it's the very act of repeating that can lead to profound understanding. Ever tried learning to ride a bike without falling?
True, but how many times must one fall before realizing the path needs moderation? There's a balance between repetition and reckless abandon.
And there lies the challenge, finding a balance in a world that increasingly leans toward extremes. Can we even agree on what that balance looks like?
Perhaps we can start by acknowledging that our current trajectory seems perilous.
Perilous or invigorating? The thrill of change can often mask the fears we cling to.
I'd argue that the thrill can also blind us to impending doom. Ignoring warning signs is the first step toward collapse.
Or it could be the catalyst for transformation. Society must be willing to take risks to redefine itself.
Risk without responsibility is reckless. What legacy do we leave for future generations if we prioritize thrill over stability?
A legacy that embraces evolution. A civilization that dares to question instead of obsessing over what was.
Then, my friend, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Do we preserve the essence of what made us strong, or do we leap into the unpredictable?
Perhaps it's not an either-or, but a reconciling of both. The old must guide the new, but the new must also challenge the old.
That sounds idealistic, but the question remains. Can we find that balance before we tip into chaos?
A question worth pondering indeed. And perhaps that's the challenge for our time, finding harmony in discord.
So here we are, on the brink, questioning the very fabric of our civilization.
And who better to question than the thinkers of our past? What's your take on our future audience? Are we set to rise or to fall?